everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikka-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikka-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
One of the things they always say on board vessels is it's 99% boredom and 1% sheer panic.
Most things on our coast move by tugboat.
If there were no tugboats, everything would just be be crashed up on the shore.
We here at BCIT News had the opportunity to speak to some of the people who make sure the environment stays pristine and the economy keeps trucking along. Let me introduce the voices you're about to hear from. Spencer Gulliver is the Assistant Manager of C-SPAN's Marine Development and Recruitment. Paul Hilder is the President of the Council of Marine Careers. Kyle Russell is a port captain at C-SPAN, and John Fullerton is a BC Coast pilot.
Eagle back on, please. Eagle back on easy.
And then back in the 1800s, they called Boundary Passage to Tofino the graveyard of the Pacific. So many ships were lost, and lives were lost, and eventually pilotage became mandatory.
You know, a master of a ship that's used to kind of transiting the open seas, anytime they get close to the coast, they get a little nervous.
The only reason why we don't have a lot of environmental disasters is because there's an entire industry designed around making sure that people are safe and able to bring in assets in and out of Vancouver.
Eagle standing by. Get an Eagle, you can back half, please.
There's always a risk. Oil doesn't just dissipate. The crude oil that we're hauling is a very persistent oil. It's not like a gasoline or anything, a refined product that tends to evaporate, so it's going to cause some long-term damage. And that's why it's so important to have these pilots and tugboats out there. We've got some pretty unique waterways on the coast, right? The inside passage here, there's not many places like it in the world. Is there an environmental component? Risk to anything? Yeah, there is.
The latest division that we have tugboats from is High Sea, and that's a partnership with the Haisla Nation up in Kitimat. They have 3 fully electric tugs. Those electric tugs were the first in North America to be operational.
So the economy of Canada depends on the little tugboat and the Canadian Mariner.
I have asked from time to time how much the cargo on board a ship is worth, and you know, it can be up to $100 million. Like it's considerable. And like you say, with the TMX pipeline being complete, the number of tankers coming in and out is unprecedented.
It seems like container ships and tankers, oil tankers, are like, they're always on a deadline. It's like everything is on schedule and like go all the time.
Eagle, whenever you're in position there.
You can't even think. This is how all the prairie's grain is shipped to the world. This is how all of Alberta's oil is shipped to the world. This is how all of the coal is shipped to the world. Vancouver does more shipping out than it does in, which is pretty important for Canadians. And then of course all the containers bringing everything we buy in the stores, it's all coming into Vancouver and then being trained or trucked to wherever it's going in Canada. $200 to $300 billion of trade goes through the Port of Vancouver.
She's moving now.
Okay, right on, thanks. Your hand there, Eagle, appreciate it. All right, have a good day, thanks.
That's the pilot communicating to the Eagle and the Osprey.
Very little moves on this coast without a tug.
This is a business that is also really, unfortunately at the moment, dwindling with the population of baby boomers that are all retiring. So currently 1/3 of our workforce can retire in the next 5 years. How do you replace a 40-year veteran on the water with somebody who's still wet behind the ears with a brand new certificate in their hand? That's a difficult thing to try to nothing trumps your experiences out there.
A BC Coast pilot here in British Columbia would, anywhere in between Alaska and Washington, get on board a vessel, introduce himself to the captain, sort of discover what the handling characteristics are of the ship, and then safely guide it to its destination anywhere within Canada. Basically, anytime a ship or large vessel goes somewhere which is unfamiliar to the crew, they need someone who's familiar with the area to guide them away from rocks or dangers and work with the prevailing conditions that they're experienced with. So,
one of the nice things about this industry is it is such a specific niche job that if you're a tug captain, you've got a job for life if you want to stay running doing that work, right? It takes so many years of training and development for that skill set.
Pulling opposite each other.
It's a dance, really, almost, eh?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, guys that I was in school with, in my class, are pilots now.
Yeah.
They're really, I mean, that's like the pinnacle of the West Coast Marine career. I mean,
yeah.
You know, pilots are a necessity. It's not a luxury. It's not something you know, oh, it's nice to have pilots. Like, you need pilots. The captains of the ships coming in, a lot of them have never been here before. And having never been here before, you don't know what to expect when you get here.
I'll just hang tight till you get out of there, and then I'll wrap her up.
BC Coast pilots really sort of feel like they're working for the people of Canada. We're independent from government, we're independent from industry, and our main concern is safety. And believe me when I tell you, nobody wants things to go well more than we do.
And you know, the little kind of insignificant tugboat, it doesn't really turn heads. Like I say, people tend to think they're cute and that, but they are the workhorses of the coast.
Eagle whenever you're in position there. Eagle copies, we're just about there. Yeah.
For BCIT's The Crow, I'm Gabe Liesi with co-producers Joe McHugh and Cohen Sassaman.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Vancouver comes alive under a canopy of pink as the cherry trees bloom and the annual Cherry Blossom Festival begins. Our reporter, Jenny Sung, has more on how the festival brings the city together.
Soft pink petals drift through the air as Vancouver's iconic cherry blossoms transform the city into a living work of art. And the Cherry Blossom Festival isn't just a celebration of nature. It's a stage that community builder Linda Poole created for artists, musicians, and performers to share their work with the community. The idea came about from her 13 years living abroad.
Well, I was far away in a place called Haiti. And I got to know the Japanese ambassador, and he told me about Sakura festivals. And I'm from Alberta. I love the cherry blossoms here that we didn't have in Alberta. And I thought, wow, whenever I get back to Vancouver, I'm going to try and start a cherry blossom festival for my city. So that's what I did 20 years ago. Well, you know, we launched Cherry Jam at Burrard SkyTrain Station, so it was very intimate and close, and I liked it because of the intimacy, I think. But now we've sort of branched out, and we're in bigger venues and more people, and the popularity, you know, has grown. So the support has been wonderful, how people come out. And there's been some additional new programs. But mostly we've taken the successful core original programs and just made them bigger, with more talent, which is what everybody wants. And more food trucks, more merchandise, more everything. Because after our winters that are just rain and everything looks dead, when the cherry blossom comes, we all come alive. And so it really is a unifying community event, more than any other cultural event in the city. And the opportunities for more talent, because we've got so much talent, but we need more opportunities to showcase them. So I think we can be a good contributor to that.
One artist the festival has highlighted is a Japanese artist, Kaori Kasai, also known as Sleepless Cow.
Here is the David Lam Park, and we are doing Cherry Blossom Festival and the big picnics. In Japan, we call Hanami, as under the cherry blossom, we put the picnic mat and the atmosphere, and get together, people get together, and we have a big picnic party, that kind of thing. So that's the theme. And I also selling my art here. I'm Sleepless Cow, that's the artist name. I'm an illustrator, originally from Japan. I create the cards, prints, bags, and other things. I also collaborate illustration to different community art projects. I think it's the third year for me. But I also play sanshin, that's Okinawan banjo, on the stage. The Cherry Blossom Festival is a big thing in Japan, and also here we see lots of cherry blossom. I think 80,000 cherry blossom is in Vancouver, so some are like mostly from Japan, right? So connect with Japan and here Vancouver, and the people get together and appreciate this beauty of the nature.
Along with artists, the festival brings about many musicians and performers, like the multi-genre band Mudfoot.
Thank you so much. Hello, how you all doing? So that song was an original composition called Circus Jerk Chicken. Today we just have Kai on the soprano marimba and Sangeeto gonna play the tenor marimba.
So my name's Kai Buchanan. I've been playing marimba with Sangeeto and a few of the other guys for 20 plus years now. Started with, a little community band and it was kind of growing from there. I'm a civil engineer by day, musician by night.
My name's Sangeeto Bigelow. I started on hand percussion and drums, Afro, Cuban, and West African drumming, and I teach music to all ages, from adult private lessons on guitar and percussion to youth group classes on marimba, like the music we played today. So I love music. It is a passion. It's also a job.
These marimbas are from Zimbabwe, Zimbabwean style. So we thought we could take it away with a contemporary Zimbabwean song called Rosalina Soda.
Last year, Vixen, who organized this event, she contacted me. I played here with Chris, another member of our band, and it was a lot like today, just jamming out. And super fun, community vibes, beautiful cherry blossom vibes.
Whether it's an artist capturing the essence of the blossoms or a musician playing beneath the petals, this festival is proving that spring is the perfect time for creativity to blossom, and Linda Poole plans to make her festival flourish even more.
Well, now we've got momentum and we're going to make it bigger and bigger so that it's a bigger international attraction. Vancouver's been first to enjoy it, but now more and more people are coming from the winter provinces, from the US, and from Europe even. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
So we're going to grow it.
Yeah, awesome. For BCIT's The Crow, I'm Jenny Sung with my co-producers Orchid Solang and Clara Lanto.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. The help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Trettenaro.
And I'm Radhika King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikka-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikka-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
In 2007, Doreen Carter's life changed when she met Darlene McCann, who, along with a group of passionate women, helped Doreen get through her recovery process. This group of passionate women runs Sir Optimist, a non-profit organization that supports marginalized women in our society. Gabby Rui has the story.
Brenda, I found it. Oh, you found your apron. I found it. Yeah. Oh, that's so hard.
Bee's Closet and Warm Place for Women are two programs that operate under the non-profit organization Sir Optimist Tri-Cities. Darlene McCann is one of the co-chairs of Bee's Closet.
We started back 10 years ago last October. We used to volunteer at a recovery house, and we friended a lady in the recovery house who was moving out into her own place. And we completely furnished her place for her with bedding, furniture, gave her food, everything. And we thought, if we could do it for one person, why can't we do it for more? One woman came to us through a referral source. She had just gotten out of St. Paul's Hospital, and she told us the only reason she was alive was because her husband thought her heart was on the right side. He took a machete to her, and she had to go through rehabilitation to be able to learn how to use her arms and everything again. It was horrible. With the cost of housing in the Lower Mainland right now, almost every cent they get is going to rent. So they have no money to buy the household items, and they can get pretty much everything that they need for the household. The trolley, when we finish an order, is absolutely full of stuff. They don't need to go shop for anything, which is wonderful.
Mugs wrapped up here. Do you have a box for dishes or?
It's all worth it for Joanne Morton, another Sir Optimist member.
This is one of the best programs for reward, especially when they come in person and we get to meet them and get them to choose. And when they walk in here, they just like, their eyes are just like.
Janice Wharton, co-chair of the program Warm Place for Women, talks to us about what they do.
Every month, we provide a warm meal in a local kitchen, and we have pretty close to 100 ladies and children that will come the first Thursday of every month, and we provide them with a nice meal.
Warm Place even holds special festivities during the holidays, like at Christmas time.
This time, we do have somebody that volunteers to be Santa. And then what we also do at Christmas time, and we ask all the people in our club, all the ladies, is to give us nice lady things. So we have a separate little room off to the side, and we have all of those things and a couple of volunteers with wrapping paper and ribbon and cards, so the children can then go in and choose a present for their mother.
Paula Beatty, another co-chair of Warm Place, told us just how meaningful it can be for someone who uses their program.
You forget, sometimes people just need a friend, right? So sometimes I have people still reach out to me and they want to go for coffee, or they want to ask a question, or they want to talk about their kids. And they just need a connection. One lady, and she told us that every piece of clothing that she owns, she got from One Place. And the fact that she could get her clothing from One Place meant that she could spend that money on food for her kids.
I'm going to say 65 or
Yeah,
70, they brought these purses. And they're full of all sorts of things, right? So the ladies could come up and they could choose a purse. And the one lady, she's just, I never thought I would have a Coach purse on my shoulder.
We got to attend a meal where Doreen Carter shared her story with us.
I was the only one. I was the first person that came in. I was still homeless, and it was amazing. Like, I mean, they made me feel welcome, no judgment, you know, very compassionate. We sat and we talked and stuff. They told me that they had cooked for 80 people. It was spaghetti and garlic bread, and I'm like, wow, you know, I'm the only one here. So it was funny because they mentioned to me at the end of the dinner, how about you take most of this with you and hand it out, or, you know. And I said, well, I really can't. And they kind of looked at me, and I said, I live in a tent. And I said, you know, if I take all this stuff now and then hand it out later, I said, there might not be anything left because bears might get at it. It's hard to believe it's been 17 years. Through my recovery, they've been just absolutely amazing, right? I didn't have to pretend that I was, you know, not addicted and I wasn't homeless or anything else like that. I may have looked terrible when I first came in. I was so skinny. I was like 130 pounds. It's really important for women to know that they're seen, no matter what the situation is, right? Whether it's abusive, whether it's drug related, whether they're pregnant, homeless. This program is so important because all the women can get together and they can talk and, you know, hopefully come to a solution. And then just be themselves, right? So, but there needs to be more done. These people deserve a place of their own, right? So there needs to be more shelters, and that's, you know, even for downtown East Side, anywhere, like all over the province, we need more shelters, and that's what I would actually work for. I would think that in order to get some more support and everything, is to write letters. Like, get the community to write letters.
An issue that Sir Optimus faces right now is the lack of funding. They must rely on our municipal governments for help. When asked about government support for women in need, Port Moody City Councillor Samantha Aktarup said this.
Recently, City Council supported an application for a women's transition shelter, so that will get built. That will have between 40 and 50 units of housing for women and children fleeing violence and abusive situations. So I think overall City Council is supportive. It's just how we support might be limited in some capacity depending on what kind of support is being asked of us. Yeah, so the way it works now in terms of funding, we have a grant cycle, and it's the grant applications go in and we have a small budget. I think it's about $20,000 set aside to fund local nonprofits, and the grant, like the support for new immigrants or women fleeing violence, or even just finding housing or training, it seems to be somewhat financially constraining, let's say.
A report from Stats Canada showed that in 2023, over 78% of victims of intimate partner violence were women. Vulnerable women, especially those further marginalized by factors such as class and race, rely on resources that organizations, such as Sir Optimus, provides. It is clear that more supports are needed to help people just like Doreen and the other women who use programs like Sir Optimus. For BCIT's The Crow, I am Gabby Rui with co-producers Jeannie Lin and Keone Mo.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Trettenaro.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Trettenaro.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Ice hockey, Canada's national winter sport. 500,000 young Canadians take to their local rinks as their parents cheer on from the bleachers above. Many of those children dream of one day playing the game they love professionally. What they may not know is for their dreams to come to fruition, their skates will be digging into an ice surface far from home with their parents cheering them on from afar.
This is my third year away actually now, so the past 2 years I spent at a prep school in Ontario.
First year I started here was 2021-22 season, and moved my way onwards to the Lethbridge Hurricanes at 18. I was 17, so I was a bit, I wasn't as mature as I am now today.
In most cases, to make it big, players must either get drafted into the CHL, play in the BCHL, or play for academy schools. Typically, these leagues lead to players having to live away from home and their families. Connor Arsenault, now a member of the Chilliwack Chiefs of the BCHL, left his home of St. John, New Brunswick shortly after his 16th birthday.
Last 2 years I spent at a prep school in Ontario. So that was originally my first time moving away, living in a dorm room there. And it was tough. Like I dealt with a little bit of homesickness for the first probably month and a half, and it affected everything, like your marks and your hockey and everything. It takes a toll on you.
Mental health experts say 14 to 16 is a crucial period during a teenager's upbringing.
When they're leaving home is kind of, it's a period of a lot of development in the brain. And, kids are trying to look at more autonomy, agency. They're pushing the envelope, trying to do more things. And so I think, when you ask about that time in their life, I'm more kind of focused on what was going on in the 10, 11, 12, 13 prior to that, right? And so kind of the attachment piece of, all these kids are kind of coming into an opportunity in life where there's a lot of pressure.
As young players move away to unfamiliar places, their parents put their trust into billet families to look after their children. Billets are tasked with housing and feeding players, playing a crucial role in a player's journey.
I would imagine that the kids are probably pretty nervous. Their parents are pretty nervous because they're always like, where are you going? Like, who are you staying with? So I'd imagine before they get there, they have reached out to some of the teammates or found out what their billet situation was like. I mean, it's a big thing. Hey, man, who are you going to live with? Who's my 18-year-old, 16-year-old kid going to go live with, It's a pretty big deal to parents. I mean, they've got kids. I'd be like, hey, who are these people?
It is tough moving in. It's a human aspect. Like if you're moving spots, it doesn't matter. Kind of what people do to try to make you as comfortable as you can. You got to fill out your environment, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes it'll take a day, sometimes it takes weeks or months or whatever. So I would say more so the environment of what you're going in. But here it didn't take me long to feel welcome and feel a part of the family, which was great.
Here's Connor Arsenault moving in. Deeks scores! Great goal, Connor Arsenault!
Establishing how to best interact with the new members of their home goes a long way into building trust in a billet household.
Everybody has different levels of communication, and you're having another kind of like youth in your house that you may have parented, but every child needs to be parented differently, right? And you handle them all uniquely different. Sometimes food can be a great way to kind of bridge relationships and to really have that kind of breaking bread together, and what are their kind of pregame meals, and really trying to make them feel at home and comfortable.
Dinner time at our house, and I think the boys would agree, pretty entertaining, pretty fun, right? I think that's important for us, and we all make an effort to sit down at the table.
Dinner's at 6 o'clock.
Dinner's at 6, right. And we're all sitting down talking about our day. And
Joining the trio at the dinner table is another billeted player.
Some billet brothers that I've had in the past that I wasn't so close to, and obviously some that I am really close to, and I'd say Connor I'm pretty close to him, even though he came in December. I feel like we've already grown a pretty good relationship.
Other, say, males or boys in the house, it's a bit of a mentorship role. And I think, it's easier for them to be more kind of like boys will be boys, and they can be more relaxed and natural in those environments.
Mateo's been with us for 3 years, which is really cool. It's the longest time we've had someone with us. We often go through change throughout the season, and last season was the first year that we didn't have anybody traded. So having Mateo for 3 years has been really cool. Yeah. And one of our first players always used to say that it was part of the package, so that now that he was in our lives, he was, he was part of the package. So Mateo now has us for the rest of his life.
It obviously helps when you have outgoing people like my billets are now. And also my first year I was by myself. So that was kind of a bit of, my first year I was 17, so I was a bit, I wasn't as mature as I am now today, but I mean, obviously helping or living with other teammates too really helps, and I think that really brings a comfort level to me. And obviously the billets at the end of the day, they're taking strangers in, like pretty much strangers. They don't know who they are, and they're opening their homes to us. So, that just goes to show how caring and those type of people are. So I can't appreciate them enough for that.
Billet families provide crucial support for the players they care for. But in times of need, there's nothing like hearing mom or dad's voice.
Family's that important, and family's what got me through that, just leaning on them. And I'd call my parents, I don't know, at the start, probably like 4 times a day just to hear their voice and get them to help me push through it. And there was a time where I didn't necessarily want to give up hockey, but yeah, I was like, yeah, I can't do it. I want to come home. And my dad said, just push till Christmas. See what you can do and just enjoy every day, get a routine. And that's what I did, and found some buddies. And now if I would have gone back home, I would have been kicking myself right now.
Bulldog blue line, lost it. Arsenault shoots, he scores!
My experience has been that when people know they have that person they can rely upon, they're not necessarily, having to be face to face with them, proximal in the same room, but knowing that they can, that when they reach out to that person, they're going to get back to them, and that can provide a level of reassurance and comfort. There's lots of kind of like hyper-masculinity appearing at this age, and lots of bravado. But there are a lot of tender young men that I see who really are reaching out to their mother, their father, their grannies, when they want to feel like when they're homesick, so to speak. And they do get homesick, right?
Having the reassurance of family from afar means the world to the players, but it's not quite the same as seeing your loved ones in person.
Even my grandfather now, my nan who has passed away, but I miss them a lot, and other family, aunts and uncles and cousins, and it's tough moving away.
Many billet households become players' physical secure base while they're away from their immediate family. After building a strong bond and a home away from home, saying goodbye weighs on billet parents.
Well, personally, it's very hard. It's really, it's hard to explain, but as soon as the boys come, they grab onto your heart, and they're part of the family. So you go through a grieving period, and it's challenging. Welcoming new players in, like our first year, we had a boy get traded. And I said, I'm never doing this again. It's just too hard. And Corey's like, we're not doing it. It's fine. And then we made the decision to keep going. And I'm so glad we did, because look at how many other players we've got to meet and families.
The system's not going to change. Young boys and girls are going to go away at young ages. It's just a part of growing up as an athlete. And it's really about bending but not breaking, right? Just kind of riding it out.
It hit a body in front. Mushimansky is going to get the assist, but it's Connor Arsenault.
Like many before him, Arsenault may have bent, but he refused to break. He's shown resilience and wherewithal while chasing his dream, learning what matters to him more than anything.
I mean, every time they're out here, you really cherish your time, and moving away from home has kind of taught me that. That family, I always knew that it mattered, but I didn't really understand the meaning of it, and moving away has definitely taught me that.
Knocked down Connor Arsenault as the Chiefs come away. They want to make a change here, so it's just Arsenault and Van Ooyen for the moment below the goal line, centered in front. Comes back to the blue line. Sirachi for Arsenault, fires, scores!
Here's the far side, Morin. Elfring to the net. Mercick following up. Mercick backhand scores. The Spurs Kings can't.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika King.